Training camp is jumping off finally at the end of the month, and Ultimate Browns got you covered for everything Cleveland Browns training camp coming up. We got camp battles, we got depth charts, and we got list upon list that you need to learn about when you are having your guide or the all-inclusive guide to watching Cleveland Browns football. We getting it started right now. Training camp is starting at the end of the month, but it's starting right now, right here on Ultimate Browns. Welcome to the fastest 30 minutes in all of sports. It's the Ultimate Browns right here on the UCSS network. G. Bush is here, and this is my favorite time of the year. Don't let nobody tell you there's nothing going on in the month of July, because right here on the Ultimate Browns, you're going to be want to keep it locked and loaded every single day as we do position battles, as we go through each and every position on this team, starting with the defensive unit today. We're going to give you a deep dive and a guide into what you're going to be watching and what you need to look for in training camp, starting with the defense today. We're gonna definitely get into what I'm calling a restricted airspace. Restricted airspace is the name of the secondary I'm giving out there. Shout out to Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome, and Denzel Ward. We'll take a look at the Browns secondary spotlight and why they are one of the best units in terms of stopping aerial assaults in the National Football League. We'll also take a deep dive into the Browns defensive line. PFF has them rated the top pass rushing unit in all of football, led by Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett. But we'll also hear some sound from Shelby Harris and Za'Darius Smith talking about why they chose to come back for the Browns and what makes this unit so special. We'll get into that, but you know what it is. We're going to get to the preview of the Browns' top-ranked defense. We're going to get some a lot of stats and a lot of different things from PFF in this segment, and we're going to definitely hear from some guys and people in the industry. First of all, from Mina Kimes talking about why she has the Browns as the number one rated defense, but she has some reservations. This clip is courtesy of Sports for CLE.
Mina Kimes from ESPN. This is from the Mina Kimes Show. What she sees as the strength of the Browns defense in 2024.
It was an interesting defense insofar as it wasn't that interesting. They played a lot of cover one and a lot of man coverage, and they rushed with 4, which tends to be a pretty good formula in the NFL if you have players who are good enough to do it. They got pantsed in the playoffs, which was my one hesitation for putting them here, because I think they were pantsed in large part because of the simplicity of their scheme. Which was, it was a really interesting season because them and Baltimore had like these two wildly different identities and kind of arrived in the same place, and both had success against the San Francisco 49ers. But I do think you saw in the playoff loss to Houston, which when that offense came out and they said, oh, okay, you're going to do exactly what you've done all season. Great. We're going to break all your rules. We're going to, use a lot of motion and man beaters and all this stuff. But part of the reason why I'm not terribly worried, John, by that one performance is that was year one with Jim Schwartz, who was a defensive coordinator. I have to think that year two, they're going to be prepared for more offenses to take that sort of approach against them, and they'll have more success with it. And you really couldn't ask for a better talent pool to work with.
And, that was courtesy of Sports for CLE, and that was the Mina Kimes Show. And, I think she really hit the nail on the head right there. I think year one under Jim Schwartz, what they wanted to do was establish the fact that they wanted to play fast, and they went to the strengths of what the Cleveland Browns do best. When you look at what they did the year prior under Joe Woods, they tried to mix in some cover 3. They tried to mix in some cover 4. And we saw them turning around looking at guys like, well, whose man is that? Whose guy is that? Why is he running free? They weren't passing guys off. Responsibilities were blown in the secondary, giving up big touchdowns. So when Jim Schwartz comes in, he says, listen, I got Denzel Ward. I got Greg Newsome. I got MJ Emerson. Let's go ahead and play what they feel best comfortable at. Let's get down to the nitty gritty and play exactly what they do best. You know what they did? They just said, let's play man. Now, when you talk about what happened in the game against the Houston Texans, yeah, they used that against them. They used the fact that they're going to use a lot of motion. They would motion a man across the line of scrimmage, across the formation, identify who's in man coverage, and hit them on quick speed stuff out of the backfields. And now you have to rally to that stuff. I think year 2 under Jim Schwartz, what you're going to see is a lot more cover 3. And there'll be more disguises, more little wrinkles that they can throw at people that are going to be, just something to throw at them to make them have to cover that and make them have to, and game plan for that type of stuff and not just see all the man coverage. But I think they'll be tremendously better at what they do. They're going to continuously be good at what they did last year, which was let's rush 4. And we got Myles Garrett. We got some of the best pass rushers up front. Maurice Hurst is one of the great pass rushers that they got. Za'Darius Smith is in the top 30 in terms of rushers as well. When we take a look at the deep dive into the defensive line, we'll go into the numbers specifically and show, according to PFF, just why those guys are so dominant. But first, let's take a look at an overall theme right here. Overall in PFF, they've rated the Cleveland Browns the 12th best team overall. And one of the biggest reasons that they're rated 12 overall, despite having questions about Deshaun Watson and some of the guys on the offensive side of the football, they're this high because of their defense. And it says the biggest strength in 2023 is the defense. There's a lot of there isn't a weak spot to be found across the defensive line. Along the defensive line, reigning defensive player of the year Myles Garrett leads the charge with 15 sacks and a 93.9 PFF grade. Lining up across from him is ageless Za'Darius Smith, who, despite being 31 last year, still managed a PFF record at 80 to record an 83.1 PFF grade, 16th best amongst 112 qualifying edge defenders. Backing him up is JOK, who showed that he belongs in the discussion amongst the top linebackers in the league last year. 61 stops, resulting in 2 yards or fewer that didn't convert to first downs. Time for fourth at his position. Secondary is as deep as they come, featuring 3 cornerbacks who could be number 1 options on several teams: Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, and Martin Emerson as well. You take a look at the Cleveland Browns, and obviously they are a team that poses playmakers at each in an additional level. So when we take a look at the deep dive, one of the things we're going to look at right here, let's take a look at your starting lineup. This is the projected starting lineup if they were going to be going into nickel. And as you can see, this is courtesy of Pro Football Focus as well. You take a look at it at defensive end, Alex Wright. Za'Darius Smith kicks down inside. Myles Garrett kicks down inside, and you got Obo Ankaranko as well as a defensive end or edge rusher. Right here, this is one of the elite pass rushing units. That's when this unit made Myles Garrett famous with the crossover technique at the 3 technique, getting his money off, right? Za'Darius Smith is a guy that kicks down, plays well inside. So, and obviously, we talked about those corners: Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome in the slot, Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Juan Thornhill, and then you got Jordan Hicks and JOK in the middle. And by the way, Jordan Hicks is unsung. 74.6 grade. He's 22nd amongst 82 linebackers. That grade is surprisingly solid, right? So take a look at what they're going to bring to the table in the 4-3 base. Most of the guys are still going to be the same. The only thing you do right here is you bring in Dalvin Tomlinson, the nose tackle, and you bring in a guy like Shelby Harris, and then you also want to throw in Maurice Hurst. Will be rotating in at that defensive tackle. Za'Darius Smith and Myles Garrett are your ends. You got Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson at your corners, and then again you round that out with Thornhill and Grant Delpit. But I will tell you this: one of the sneaky things when we drill down on the secondary coming up later on the show is I'm going to show you Ronnie Hickman is a guy that I project to be a guy that could possibly take over the starting spot for Juan Thornhill. And I'm not just saying that as a hot take. When you take a look at his PFF grades and you look at his production and you look at Juan Thornhill being a guy that makes a bunch of money, and you take a look at Ronnie Hickman, who's being a guy that's an undrafted free agent who's made some plays for you, when you see his PFF grade, you're going to say, wow, this is a position where this turns into a camp battle. So those are what your base is going to look like in the nickel and the 4-3. Let's take a look at so when you're watching training camp, You're going to be taking a look at your depth charts. A lot of times, you don't mention some of these guys, but when you round out the depth chart and you get a chance to see first and front row, just the names here, you start to see that there's not very many roster spots available. One of the positions that you look at that's going to be up for grabs right now, Devin Bush is a guy at Sam linebacker who you see is penciled in to start right now. He's going to be in a battle with Tony Fields, who's a special team player as well. But from what you see, take a look at his depth. Alex Wright is another guy. Za'Darius Smith is the other end on that side. But if Za'Darius Smith gets banged up a little bit, I can see Alex Wright definitely starting a lot of games over at the end position. Quentin Jefferson is a nice little, prospect that they brought in, veteran from the Jets. Mike Hall Jr. is another guy, Ohio State Buckeye. Obo Ankaranko is there, obviously. He'll probably be the guy that's going to be rushing in the nickel. So you take a look at those 8 guys right there up front. Za'Darius Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson, Shelby Harris, Myles Garrett, Alex Wright, Quentin Jefferson, Mike Hall Jr., Obo Ankaranko. That is as solid as of 8 you can come with. Right. And we haven't even talked about Maurice Hurst, who's a guy that can be swapped in and out for Shelby Harris. So you right now got nine guys up front that can make some plays, JOK is there. Watch out for Nathaniel Watson getting some playing time as well. Muhammad Diabate, I think those guys will be special teams type guys. And then DeAnthony Bell, definitely a special teams guy. Shout out to him. Rodney McLeod, he'll play especially with that. But Ronnie Hickman, to me, is a guy that you should be watching. And obviously you got Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome rounding it up, right? So let's continue to go down. We got a lot of information to get to. Let's get to this. One of the reasons that they have the Browns defense rated so highly in PFF and why I have them as one of the best defensive teams in the league is because when you take position group by position group, the Cleveland Browns tout 3 position groups that are inside of the top 10, which is very good considering there's 32 teams. Let's take a look at the linebacker room, which the linebacker room, we don't talk about it enough. You got JOK and you got Jordan Hicks. And some people may be surprised to see that the PFF has the Cleveland Browns rated number 8 overall in terms of their linebacker play. It says, despite being undersized, JOK has excelled since entering the NFL, earning a PFF coverage grade above 70 in each of the past 2 seasons. The Browns added Jordan Hicks in free agency, and the 31-year-old recorded a 74.6 PFF grade in 2023, his highest since 2018 with the Philadelphia Eagles. As you take a look, Jacksonville comes in at number 7. Baltimore Ravens are coming in at number 6, the Giants at 5, and the New England Patriots at 4. I'm going to tell you right now, PFF has in this category, they have the New York Jets, the number one ranked linebacker unit. CJ Mosley leads that unit, and I'm gonna tell you what, they got the Jets high on defense in a lot of different places. Speaking of, let's get to secondary. They got the Buffalo Bills at number 3, Baltimore Ravens at 4, Dolphins at 5, and Cleveland Browns. Another top 10 finish, this time in the secondary. The Browns defense played lights out in 2023, and as the relentless pressure put on quarterbacks helped secondary that faced multiple injuries at the safety position. Denzel Ward has also battled injuries the past 2 years and transformed the unit into one of the best in the NFL when he has been on the field. Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson also make it difficult for opposing offenses. The Browns defense is different. We saw that in multiple instances when Denzel Ward is playing. When he is playing, the Browns have one of the best defensive backfields in the game, and we calling them, it ain't the no-fly zone, it's the restricted airspace. You know what it is, man. I'm coining that. Don't steal that. Guys be stealing my lingo around here. Let's continue to go, and let's get to defensive line. So, we recapping. We got number 8 in terms of linebacker in the league. They have us rated as the, in terms of the 6th best secondary in the league. Now let's look at the defensive line. Defensive line comes in at number 5, according to PFF. The Browns did the work to put help around Myles Garrett last offseason and will expect the group to cook again in 2024. Garrett rightfully won the Defensive Player of the Year with a better supporting cast, and the likes of Za'Darius Smith and Dalvin Tomlinson were difference makers to a defensive line that did not nearly have enough juice before they arrive. Depth of this group is also solid. We talked about that when we looked at the depth chart. And the ceiling is even higher if some of the rotational young players like Mike Hall Jr. can make an impact. So when you take a look at this, as we watch and we get into specifically the Cleveland Browns, defensive fronts in the secondary, you can see as an overview, the Cleveland Browns are going to be one of the best units in the league. They're deep. They got multiple guys up front that can rotate with waves upon waves of guys. And to add to that, you got Jim Schwartz, who's going to be adding new wrinkles. You got new guys like Mike Hall Jr. that could come in and give you more pass rush ability. You've added to the speed at linebacker. Devin Bush can run. JOK, Jordan Hicks, is a guy that's going to be a veteran. That's a very solid guy. And, when you look at it from trenches to the secondary, the Cleveland Browns will again be one of the best units. In my opinion, will be the best unit if you throw in on a short list with the 49ers, the Jets, Ravens, teams like that. But the Cleveland Browns will be right back there in 2024. When we come back, we're going to get to some more video. We're going to take a look at the Browns defensive line. We'll hear from Za'Darius Smith and Shelby Harris about why they really took their time and came back to Cleveland because of the special unit and because of the fans. We'll come back and do that next on this episode of The Ultimate Browns. Well, baseball is in full swing, and the Guardians are in first place. It's a great time to be a Guardians fans, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's 150 bonus bucks, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots and home runs and slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to the fastest 30 minutes in all of sports. It's your man G. Bush right here on the Ultimate Browns show, man. I'm excited about this, man. We're going to continue to give deep dives. We're going to get into this football thing, man. This is the exciting time of the year. And if you're a hardcore Browns fan, if you're a hardcore football fan, and you just want the straight numbers, you want to get ready for the season, this is where you go, man. We ain't doing no more gossip. We ain't doing the gossip columns, man. We back at it, man. We getting into the nitty gritty. This is your guide for the Cleveland Browns and how to get ready for training camp and what to look for so you're ready for the 2024 season. Let's get to our next clip of the day, man. This is courtesy of Cleveland Browns Daily over there in the Cleveland Browns Network. This is Za'Darius Smith and Shelby Harris talking about why why it was special for them to come back to Cleveland. Both of those guys played for one of the defensive lines. Before we take a look at the deep dive of the Browns defensive line, let's take a look at what Za'Darius Smith and Shelby Harris had to say about why this was such a special place to be, and they're excited about this upcoming year.
I can say I've been in this situation, 6 times now, to be able to make it to the playoffs and just get an opportunity. And being in Baltimore, getting ready to play Cleveland, like, okay, we about to play Cleveland. Yeah, this is a stat game, And to come here is really not like that anymore. We're taking advantage of every opportunity. And like I said, it's the start of something special. And it's only going to get bigger from here.
Absolutely.
I just think it was just – to be a part of something with this fan base, and everyone's always heard about how crappy the Browns have been. Let's just be honest about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
not anymore.
No.
Well, no, and that's
no,
the thing, though, to be a part of that. The changing of the guard, to be a part of this new Browns era that's coming in. That's what was cool about it. You know what I mean? Because even before the season, like when I got here, nobody expected anything of us. Then the minute that Deshaun went down, nobody expected anything of us.
Right.
Well, Chubbs, Deshaun, like every injury that would happen, everyone would be like, oh, they're done. They're done. Count them out. And all we kept doing was just kept responding, every week. So, that's what made it special. And then, just to have the support of the fan base, and then that last game you said, against the Jets, like, I've never been a part of anything like that. You know what I mean? Where after the game, you're going around high-fiving everybody, just like hanging out with the fans, like as a pro. Sure. That's like a college atmosphere.
It was like a senior night in college,
you
right?
know what I mean? So it was just, it was real special to be a part of something like that, and just and to sign back here and to be a part of the growth of the Cleveland Browns, and to be able to say like, we're helping, the ascending Browns, take the next step.
See, like this is the crazy thing about it, man. You guys count. You guys play a role in this, man. We all play a role in this, man. When you get the momentum going and you start to get the mojo going and you got guys pulling for each other in the locker room and the city's pulling for you and you get that flavor, that energy, like that game he's talking about, the last game of the year against the Jets. And we watched the Jets, right? We took a look at the Jets and all the other different things that they got going. Their rates like the number one unit when it comes to its secondary, the number one unit in D-line. They think they're the number one linebackers. They got the Jets as the number one unit. But when it came down to the come down last year, when we was playing them, we had Joe Flacco and them boys running up and down the field. And it just goes to show you we had a special atmosphere in Cleveland last year on our home games. And it was just a special season overall. And that type of stuff matters, man. When you got guys that are going to the game locked in, no more are we just going to the immunity lot to get loaded up and liquored up and drunk and then go boo and put paper bags on our face. You got a job. You got to be ready with that energy to be cheering from first quarter down to the fourth quarter. And they're telling you, look, they feel it. They're like, that was a college atmosphere, man. You don't get that in the pros. And so we got to continue to build on that. We want that same type of energy this year. And we're going to continue to do that when it comes to the defense, man. So shout out to them. And that clip was courtesy of Cleveland Browns Daily and the Cleveland Browns. Shout out to Nathan Zagura over there, man. And Bo Bishop, man. Watch the show all the time. Congratulations for all the success over there as well. Coming up, let's take a look at this. Let's drill down on it. And the first thing is, before we get to defensive line, one of the areas that I think that I kind of put together, because the linebackers are part of the rush so much. Let's take a look at the linebacker room a little bit as well. This is one of the reasons why the linebacker room and the Browns are going to be so good when it comes to the front seven, the rush, the defensive line. Take a look at this right here. This is according to PFF. Right here, you got the ranks, JOK number 18 and Jordan Hicks at 22. Now, you got to think about this. That's two players in the top 25 at linebacker. That's pretty special. That's a pretty special stat. Take a look what they can do. Both can run. They're able to, when you talk about JOK, good coverage grade. His pass rush grade is elite at 87.4. And if you drill down and you look at it with JOK, this is what PFF has to say. They have him coming into this season as the 8th ranked linebacker. The 8th ranked linebacker in the top 32 of the league. And it says, making up for his lack of size at the position with tremendous speed and quickness, Owusu-Koramoah earned a PFF coverage grade of 70.0 in each of the past 2 seasons. He will also be used effectively as a blitzer in 2023, setting career highs in 18 total pressures with 4 sacks and an 87.4 PFF rushing grade. That's going to be another big part of what he's going to do. Another big part of what JOK does is that pass rush grade. And he's also going to be used against mobile quarterbacks. He's great against the Lamar Jacksons. He's great against the guys, the Justin Fields that like to scramble and extend plays because he's so fast, sideline to sideline. And don't sleep on Jordan Hicks. Just did a blog on Ultimate Browns a week ago about Jordan Hicks. Did a spotlight on him, and he's already getting acclimated and excited to be part of the defense. I think he's an upgrade from Anthony Walker. And it's not a knock on Anthony Walker. He did a tremendous job here as well. Just couldn't stay healthy. I think the Browns at linebacker, if they can get something out of Devin Bush, who they kicked the tires on, former first round pick out of Pittsburgh, went to Seattle, you might find something. You might be able to find something with those two individuals. Let's take a look at what I think is the most, I would say, the strength of the team almost. To me, the strength of the team, when you take a look at it, I think the strength of the team is the defensive line. And let's take a look at what PFF, where they have those defensive linemen in rank. Take a look at this. Remember what I said. When I was doing the depth charts, you didn't see Maurice Hurst picked as a starting defensive tackle. But if you look at it, Maurice Hurst is ranked higher than Shelby Harris, as well as Dalvin Tomlinson and Quentin Jefferson. Look what his defensive rating is, at 81.0. His rush defense is 76.5. And when you take a look at his pass rush at a 75.9, he's the highest rated defensive tackle that the Cleveland Browns have. That's wild. A guy that is listed third on the depth chart, and Maurice Hurst is your third defensive tackle, but he's rated higher in terms of what he's able to do after getting after the quarterback. This is a very solid tackle room. Maurice Hurst, Shelby Harris, Dalvin Tomlinson, Quentin Jefferson, and you got Mike Hall Jr. And you add him into the rotation of guys. This is really a really nice room. I really like that. Take a look at the edge defenders. They, again, solid and above solid. Myles Garrett, number 1 rated defensive edge player. 93.9, 94 overall, basically. Highest pass rush grade, 94.7. And we talk about it, and I wanted more from Za'Darius Smith. I've been on record, said I want more than 5 sacks. Za'Darius Smith, silently solid. Take a look at his pass rush, his defensive grade, 83.1. His pass rush grade is at 86.8. A lot of times what you don't understand when you play defensive line, and me being a defensive end, I kind of know this. You can have a great rush. You can have a great rep on somebody, but it's a 3-step, and they get rid of the ball. You can have a great rep on somebody, but the quarterback just sprints away from you or scrambles away from you. Like, there are lots of things you can do to affect the play. You can run a guy right into a sack, right? And you don't get credit in the stat sheet, but technically you did a great job. Za'Darius Smith is rated number 16th right there. Obaranka Ranko at 62 and Alex Wright in 97. I don't mind it. You got 4 pass rushers in the top 100 at edge rusher. I'll take it. On one team, I like it. I like it. We continue moving on. And let's take a look specifically. We've talked about the linebacker position. We've talked about some of the defensive guys. Let's just drill down on 2 of the guys that that were high on that list that we talked about. And let's start with Myles Garrett. Garrett was nothing short of sensational in 2023, led the league with a 94.7 pass rush grade. What else is new? His 27.3 pass rush win rate was the highest marks in PFF history. It was his 5th straight season that Garrett recorded an elite pass rush grade. And let me talk about this. Let me drill down on this. I don't need nobody talking about pass rush grades. I don't need nobody telling me about how Myles Garrett fell off. Matter of fact, I'm issuing this decree. Unless you've been getting off double teams, you leave that to me. I'll talk about what Myles Garrett need to be doing. You leave that to me. These guys out here be sitting here talking about, well, Myles Garrett, he fell off at the end of the season. He got 5-6 dudes on him. These dudes ain't never been double teamed and triple teamed before. This dude been getting doubled and tripled since he came into the league. And his 27.3 pass rush win rate was the highest mark in PFF history. See, a lot of times, sometimes you just don't know. If you ain't never put your hand in the dirt, just let me talk about that. Let me get to it. It be guys out here that don't know what they be talking about, man. Why? Sacks is not the end-all, be-all. Sacks is not. Tackles for loss can be something. Now, if there's one critique I will say on Myles Garrett, I want to see you be more disruptive on the run game. I don't got a problem with your pass rush. Let me see more. You could be more disruptive in tackles for loss, getting in the backfield, being disruptive. That's what I want to see. But in terms of the rest of that stuff, stop playing with me. Myles Garrett keeps falling off at the end of the – listen, there's more people on this field besides Myles Garrett that need to show up and do something. That's low-hanging fruit. Y'all need to get in that film room and get in that film work and start talking about what the other nuances is. Stop saying everything is Myles Garrett. Y'all be doing that. We're going to get to the offensive side of the ball too. Today is defense. Next week is offense. Deep dive. Y'all got to come up with something besides Deshaun Watson and Myles Garrett. Y'all getting paid all this doggone money to say 2 names. Come on now. Come on. Don't get rough. Don't get your feathers ruffled. Somebody's out there. Is he talking to me? Nah, I ain't say no names. It is what it is. Let's get to this number 17, Za'Darius Smith. You can't use the Myles Garrett effect as the way to brush off Smith's 85.3 overall grade and 86.6 pass rush grade in 2023. As he had nearly identical numbers the previous season in Minnesota as well. The 31-year-old posted back-to-back seasons with pass rush win rate above 18% after going through back surgery in 2021, missing all but one game that season. 18% pass rush grade. Win rate is nice. I want to see more production because I think I can get more out of Za'Darius Smith. I think I can. And I put on the thumbnail. Alex Wright is a guy who I'm expecting a nice little jump from as well. Alex Wright is one of those dudes as well. So you take a look at why the Browns defense is so solid is because they got monsters and they got deep pockets when it comes to the defensive line and the front seven in general. With that being said, when we get back, we're going to get back to the secondary. The Browns just not only don't have defensive linemen, they got D linemen, they got backers, but they also have restricted airspace. Newsome, Ward, Emerson. We'll take a look at it. Where do they rank? And you might be surprised which one of those was ranked the highest when it comes to covering people. We're going to do it back. Deep dive. Training camp is coming up. Keep it locked right here on the Ultimate Browns. Yeah, we know football season is coming up, training camp, but if you want to keep in touch with everything going on with the Guardians, the only podcast for you is Ultimate Guardians. Make sure you check that out. Adam the Bull, Zach Meisel. Cavs right now, we had the NBA draft. We got a coach. Summer League is coming up. That means Imani Bates is getting loose. You're going to want to hear what Jason Lloyd and Mikey McNuggets say about the Ultimate Cavaliers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Make sure you subscribe so you get all the Ultimate Cavs updates as well. Hey, man, word on the street is Earl got his ear to the streets. Ultimate 216. It's a mix of sports and culture. You can check that out each and every week right here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show Network. And, of course, it's the big homie, the man in charge, the biggest one, the biggest numbers, the biggest personality. You know what it is. Kool-Aid Mafia in the building. Stockpile General. Ultimate Browns. Twice a week. Right here. Every single day you get an opportunity to get an Ultimate Browns episode, and you guys have been showing some love right here on we talk nothing but the solid most football over here on the UCSS network. Make sure you hit the notification so you get all of our updates and know when we are going live. Yes, back to the quickest 30 minutes in all of sports. Let's get to the Browns secondary spotlight. One of the reasons the Browns is really great is because of Denzel Ward. We talked about it earlier. When he's on the field, it's a different atmosphere. And one of the things that really make Denzel Ward a solid corner and a lockdown corner is his elite speed. This clip is courtesy of Sports for CLE. And the 33rd team said Denzel Ward is one of the top 25 fastest dudes in the league. Don't get that twisted.
So this is from the 33rdteam.com. It's a former NFL personnel guy, some GMs, ranking the NFL's fastest 25 players. Number 1, they got a rookie, Xavier Worthy. Number 2, Tyreek Hill. Number 3, DK Metcalf, which is kind of frightening given his build. 20th, Denzel Ward. There aren't many cornerbacks in the league faster than Ward. At the 2018 NFL Combine, ran a 4.32 40, and his quickness is even more impressive. You tend to forget because he is a cornerback. Yeah. That's one of the things that they're paying him for. He's got the elite speed to hang with wide receivers.
Yeah, one thing I found funny about this list is you run your 40 at the Combine, and then no matter whatever you run, that's what you are for your career. They'll cite that. If you run 4.32, you're a 4.3 guy. And the truth of the matter is when you get 8-9 years in the league, you're probably still not a 4.3 guy. But in Denzel Ward's case, it's a little different because he doesn't appear to have lost a step. Right. He appears to still be just as quick as when he came in the league. and the long speed is impressive. But like what they pointed out there, which I think is apt, is how quick he is short area, because his style of defense is playing that mirror technique, and he's not trying to race you. He's trying to be in your jersey. He's trying to stay sticky, stay step for step with you. But he still can flip the hips and really open it up and show that deep speed when he has to.
Yeah, Denzel Ward is a guy that is not only, you can't really show the highlights. There's a nice little TikTok going around it. They talk about one of the most underrated corners, and they talk about how fast Denzel Ward is. And multiple receivers say he can stay stride for stride with you. His technique is great. He's not going to arm fight with you. Not very many pass interferences. And the reason he doesn't get very many pass interferences is because he's not threatened by your speed. He knows he has the recovery speed, so he doesn't have to grab when the ball is in the air. Has really good ball skills, and his change of direction and lateral speed is beautiful when it comes to being able to keep guys from catching the football. And if it wasn't for injuries and him missing 3 or 4 games a year, 2 or 3 games a year, he would be consistently one of the guys in top names listed in terms of the best guys in the league in terms of, you know, shutting down guys with the at corner. Let's take a look at this. We have some, and specifically when it comes to Denzel Ward and when it comes to some of these in the corner room. We already talked about they have the Cleveland Browns rated the 6th best corner room in the league. Let's continue to watch this. Let's take a look at specifically what Denzel Ward brings to the table. Denzel Ward, they have ranked number 17 according to PFF. Many talented cornerbacks have suffered injuries in the past few seasons. And this bug hit Denzel Ward in 2022 and 2023. His grades have taken a hit because of it, but when he's on the field, the Browns secondary instantly becomes one of the best in the NFL. The former Ohio State Buckeye star earned an 88.6 coverage grade his first 4 seasons in the NFL from 2018 to 2021, the 5th best mark in the league over that span. You look at it, I think Denzel Ward, you know, he took a little bit of a ding because of the injuries, but make no bones about it. When he's on the field and those 3 guys are playing together, they can cover 3 receivers. You look at how well they play against T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd when they played for the Cincinnati Bengals, some of the best receivers in the league. They fared very well against those 3 as well. Let's take a look. Here's another guy who kind of is maligned a little bit. They picked his 5th-year option up. Greg Newsome comes in at 24. Think about this. This is in the top 32 corners in the league. So you got 17 and 24. Greg Newsome says the Browns fielded arguably the best defense in the NFL last season, and Newsome's play out of the slot was a big reason why he earned a very respectable 74.4 grade over the past 2 years, and his 21 forced incompletions are tied for 20th at the position over the same span. And I think it's a little bit of strength in numbers, because if you look at it in the top 32, they had number 17 with Denzel Ward, number 24 with Greg Newsome. But you take a look at it, they have James Bradbury of Philadelphia at number 33, and then at number 34, Martin Emerson Jr. So you take a look at it. If you're going to say the Cleveland Browns are going to get 3 corners in the top 35, that just goes to show you how deep they are as well. And another big part of it as well, too, is it's just not them. It's the safety room. The Cleveland Browns, you know, have a plethora of safeties over there. Let's take a look at the safety room. And one of the things we talked about that I thought was very interesting was this. If you look at the numbers, sheerly on numbers, now he didn't have the number of defensive snaps. He only played 322 snaps. Ronnie Hickman did. Grant Delpit played 738, and Juan Thornhill played 643. But let me just tell you something. Ronnie Hickman was rated higher than Grant Delpit and Juan Thornhill as an undrafted free agent. Look at this. His grade, 74.1. And that's why I got Ronnie Hickman as a guy that can potentially begin some minutes. I can do the same thing with Alex Wright. Juan Thornhill has been injury prone. Za'Darius Smith has been known to be banged up. Obo Akaraco is known to be banged up. Those young guys filled in quite nicely last year in spot duty, and Ronnie Hickman might be a guy who can step up and possibly steal a little spot somewhere. I'm telling you right now. Let me just pull him up. Let me take a look at Ronnie Hickman real quick. Here we go. We'll get you together. We get, and then I want to take another deep dive a little bit too into the safety room, because you do have a guy who did make top 32 at the safety position. But take a look at Ronnie Hickman. 74.1 grade. That's 17th out of 95 safeties, right? Coverage grade is a 73.9, which is 22nd out of 94 safeties, right? So, I mean, that's very respectable. I liked him coming out of Ohio State. He was undrafted. You know what you can do. You know, Juan Thornhill's making a little bit of a chunk of change And if you can replace him, if he can be a guy that could come in and play at a higher level than Thornhill, there's a chance that Thornhill could be a candidate that might not be here. That's the way the game works. That's the way the game works. So Ronnie Hickman is definitely a nice piece at safety. Let's take a look at another safety. They did Grant Delpit started the year off good, right? Started off the year hot. He came in at number 22 in terms of the free safeties and strong safeties. They put the safeties together. Grant Delpit came in at number 22. So that's another Cleveland Brown in the top 32 at a position. So although Delpit once faced injuries, cutting his 2023 campaign short, it was the LSU's best season, LSU products, best season in the NFL so far. He began the year with back-to-back 90-plus PFF grades and was the PFF's 11th rated highest graded safety after week 9. So you could tell the injuries caught up to him a little bit, but after week 9, 77.7, his performance tailed off a bit. The season ended early, but still finished as a 31st ranked safety in PFF overall grade. So out of all the safeties, free and strong, Grant Delpit right now looks like he's coming in at number 22. So, when you take a look overall at all of the the stats and the different things in the publications, one thing that stands out is that the Cleveland Browns have playmakers at every single level, from the inside interior to the outside edge rushers, linebackers, corners, slot corners, safeties. They got playmakers at every single level. And I'm going to tell you what, the Cleveland Browns defense is going to be better than it was last year, and that can be very dangerous. If they can translate on the road, and get that zipped up, add a couple wrinkles in terms of the cover 3, and not letting man coverage be their kryptonite or boom or bust, so to speak. I think that year 2 and Jim Schwartz defense could be very, very stingy for offenses out there. You let me know. Do you think the Cleveland Browns have an opportunity to be better in 2024 than they did in 2023? You put it in the comment section and let me know which player you're looking to take the biggest jump for the Cleveland Browns. With that being said, man, time flies when you're doing it big, man. Look out for our next deep dive into training camp. Now we look at the offensive side of the football. Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, Jerry Jeudy, all those guys over there, and we'll do it in the same style and the same depth right there as we did it today. With that being said, you never know where I'm going to be. Radio, television, internet, all the above. But you see me back there with the Clippers. All you got to do is listen for them. Your boy will be around. Have a great rest of your evening, and go Browns.